Dateline Delta's host, Earl Selby, has been interviewing exceptional faculty and staff members throughout the season, and this month, he sat down with Q. Beckman, Associate Professor of Economics. Let's listen in.
With us in the, well, I like to call it the library, but I'm told it's called the Teaching and Learning Center. Is that okay? The Teaching and Learning Center is Eric Beckman, who is a professor, well, associate professor of economics. Do I have that?
Yes,
right?
you do.
Okay. Tell us about your journey to Delta College. Where are you from? I know you went to school.
Oh yeah, I was born in Owasso.
Owasso, Michigan?
Oh yes,
Ah.
I've lived in Michigan my whole life.
Ah,
We were born in Owasso. I spent a lot of time in Roscommon area in Higgins Lake because my grandfather had a place up there.
okay.
Moved to Mount Pleasant for college. Went to Central Michigan. I kind of consider Mount Pleasant to be my hometown because that's where I spent a good chunk of my adult life.
Oh, okay.
Always worked from the middle of high school on. I mean, when I started at Delta in 2003 after I finished my master's at CMU. And
So you did your bachelor's and master's at CMU?
we had an excellent economics program there.
Okay.
And I actually started out in computer science, and when I took my first econ class, I switched my major.
Oh, jeez.
I like to joke around that there's two types of people in the world. There's people who hate economics and people who teach it. Most of the people who work in the field don't really like the science of it. They like the consultancy and the business aspect of it.
Okay.
I ran my own. I worked for CMU as a painter, doing residential housing and stuff. I ran a painting company for a while I was doing that. Worked in a party store. I've done years and years of bouncing security for bars, bartending. Actually, when I started at Delta part-time, I had 2 classes here and 3 other jobs. And after I got through
2 classes you were teaching?
here, yeah, that I was teaching, and then I had 3 other jobs in Mount Pleasant. When I got in full-time, here about midway through my 2nd year, and I've been here since 2003.
Oh, so you're about 15 years.
I'm just capping off my 15th year. Yep.
What is the job prospects, employment prospects for your students? And when I say your students, they have an interest in economics. They come out with an economics major. Maybe they go to a 4-year, maybe not. But what and where are the job prospects?
The students that we have here at Delta that are taking economics classes are business majors. So they're going through maybe a management program or an entrepreneurship program. The course I'm teaching tonight is part of the entrepreneurship program. Okay. And but we also get a mix of any program pretty much, except with the possible exception of nursing and some of the health industry programs, because we're a gen ed option. As part of that, we tend to fit in our early classes, our principles classes, which is what we teach here at Delta. It's just the principles of microeconomics, which is small individual stuff, and principles of macroeconomics, which is the national scale, the economy. Economics is a science based on choice. Our whole science is based on combining mathematics and psychology to try to build models of human behavior. Choice is involved in everything in the world. Every field needs to deal with choice and efficiency and trying to get the most out of their resources. So any program really is where we're reaching in and giving them that little aspect of this is a different way of thinking.
Oh, okay.
Social work, for instance. I often have social work students in my class, and they're like, I don't know why I'm here. This doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't have to be in this class. And I'm like, my sister's a social worker, and she's Michigan State MA, and she tells me all the time, the econ classes are so important to us, but they don't know it until they get out in the field.
Really?
Where now you're trying to explain to your clients, here's some of the ways that you're making choices that are poor choices for the long run, or a poor use of your resources, for instance. You've got X amount of food stamps, bridge card coming in. You're using a whole bunch of it on the first day for a big, expensive meal, and then going into the next week, you don't have the basics. And things like that, making decisions with different viewpoints is really what we're at this level.
Okay. So is the student count pretty stable in your area?
Yeah. Since the since we've leveled off again after we had our big push during the recession, since we've leveled off after that, we've been pretty stable in our department.
I understand you teach some classes at the local prison.
That's where I'm heading tonight.
How is this your first year teaching?
This is my first time. Yes, I got to go out and meet the gentleman a couple of weeks ago as part of an introductory program. It's part of our orientation that you visit someone else's class before your class starts.
Okay.
And it's an interesting environment.
Well, as it is an interesting environment, are those students different than the students you encounter on the main? Because they can't get up and go whenever they feel like it.
What I will tell you I've taught a few students by correspondence course in the prison system here. They are very motivated, they're very hardworking, and I've had a great experience with them. You got to consider they've got so many less resources than our typical student would. No access to computers, no online access, and particularly with the correspondence course, you send them some stuff, they do it and mail it back. And so there's a long gap between when you even talk to each other, and talk is just by sending each other letters. So with the packages, they're asking questions, you're trying to formulate the best response you can, and you're not getting the feedback that you normally would with a classroom. So I'm looking forward to that aspect of it, that since I'm going to be in the classroom with the gentleman, I'll have at least the feedback, the give and take of the class. That'll be better.
Is tonight your first class?
Tonight's the first class, yep.
Oh.
I've got a whole box of course packs and name tag tents and everything ready to go, because you have to, it's an interesting process to get in, let's put it that way, and it's an interesting process to get out, and there's a lot of extra training involved because essentially if you're there in this view, they kind of view you as a half volunteer, half contractor. So you have a lot, and pretty much you're responsible for a lot of the same things that an employee of the Department of Corrections would be.
Oh, really?
As far as responsibilities, if something were to happen, you don't want to slip up on things. You have to maintain a lack of familiarity, things, which is, for me, I'm used to a very informal classroom, a lot of conversation back and forth. So there's a degree of rigor to it that's going to be an experience for me.
Well, a motivated student, what is the advantage to the instructor?
Oh, goodness.
Of the motivated student?
If you have particularly in this situation where we have a small classroom, it's 11 students, say. 11 to 13 students is like the ideal class size. Anything too much smaller than that, it's hard to keep conversation moving. Anything much bigger and people can hide. A motivated student is going to be right there wanting to know why. It's not just a matter of here's what the thing is that we're talking about, here's this over here, we use this for this. No, but why? How does that affect that? Why does this work?
Okay.
I don't want to just learn it, I want to really understand it. That's a motivated student.
Eric Beckman, professor, associate professor of economics. Thanks for coming in. I've learned something with the information you've shared with us.
I'm glad, Earl. It's good to be here. Thanks for
you.
inviting me.